last 12 months, next 12 months here to help counterbalance it all. It appears that everyone from Drake to Kendrick to J. Cole to Lil Uzi Vert will be dropping. So there is some interesting stuff to do that to go there. I mean, Kendrick Lamar, we talked about him before. He's booked about I think 5 or 6 festival appearances. He had been very, very much in that festival scene and trying to get in on some of that stuff. So, what we really could see is a battle for the crown. But here's the thing, there could be a long list of exciting newcomers who have ambitions to rule the next decade. This is really, I think, the beginning of a turn of a new leaf, an era in music. So here's 10 things that I personally am going to be looking forward to in the new year. So obviously in 2019, some of rap's biggest stars kind of retweeted, laid a little low. The absence of solo albums from guys like Drake, Kendrick Lamar, J. Cole made room for artists like Young Thug and Tyler, the Creator, to shine at the top of the chart. I think that's a very, very good thing that happened. I'm very, very encouraged that we saw this happen. I think it's very positive. I think for the really for the music industry that we were able to, for the rap industry, that we were able to just get more exposure and really show that rap is a versatile business. It's a versatile art form. There's so many ways. There's so many people. It's very depth. What I'm trying to say, it has a lot of depth. It's very depth, but having top most rappers of the 2010s list, Drake is going to enter the new decade at a time when most of his biggest competition are also expected to drop albums. So there's going to be a lot of stuff going on here. Maybe people like Tyler, maybe people like Young Thug, they may take a little bit of a seat in 2019 or in 2020. And I think it's going to be a real battle for the crown. Outside, of course, of Cole and Kendrick, it's also possible we see rappers like Jay-Z, who knows, jump back into the ring, as well as younger artists like DaBaby and Lil Uzi Vert, who are going to be bringing a lot of fresh energy into the new decade. It's going to be really an exciting, competitive year for rap, and I think we should all probably be very excited for it. And I think we've had a very successful 2019 in rap. It's really been busting out the doors here. And with not the top guys releasing albums, we got some legitimately good music in 2019. Maybe Frank Ocean could be releasing new music before his Coachella appearance in April. By the way, we'll get to the lineup for that also a little bit later on. There's a lot of stuff to look forward to. 2019 was great, and I think it kind of helps rap to prove its kind of versatility and depth when its biggest artists set out. But 2020, expect a fireworks show. Another thing you could expect is a possible drill takeover. If we had to place an early bet on a regional subgenre to break through the mainstream level in 2020, it would probably be Brooklyn drill. Throughout 2019, rappers like Pop Smoke, Vivio Foreign, Chef G, and 22 Gs put in work to build their national profile of the subgenre until BK Drill exploded in the final months of the year. Producer AXL Beats, who is instrumental in taking UK drill sound, which was itself inspired by the Chicago drill movement of the early 2010s, and bringing it to New York, recently told Complex, "I think it's going to be a sound of 2020. A lot of mainstream rappers are going to hop on drill." In December, Drake and Travis Scott jumped on drill beats with War and Gotti, respectively. We played that. We talked about that last week with the new Jack Boys album, with Travis Scott hopping on a pretty interesting track from Pop Smoke, where he does a drill beat, and of course Drake with a new freestyle album, freestyle released on YouTube, with streaming services not getting a chance to hear the drill sound. But again, with these mainstream artists jumping on drill, I think it's going to be very interesting, very encouraging to see this happen here. So, it's about to be another really huge year for drill. And another thing is we could see some pretty long-awaited albums finally dropping. Of course, the question obviously is about Eternal Take, but also a whole lot of red here. I mean, so there are a lot of artists we'd like to see drop to new music in 2020, as we just talked about. But we hope that this also here includes some of the long-anticipated projects from Lil Uzi Vert and Playboi Carti. Uzi's Eternal Take and Cardi's Whole Lotta Red are expected to arrive in 2019, but due to record label issued and a series of unauthorized leaks, both projects were nowhere to be found. Despite the mishaps of the last year, it looks like 2020 will be, hopefully, a huge year of music releases for Uzi and Cardi. Although a firm release date has not been announced for either album, Uzi tweeted on December 25th he's going to treat 2020 like 2016, which seemingly refers to the era in which Uzi dropped 3 projects in a 7-month span. Lil Uzi vs. The World, The Perfect Love Tape, and 1017 vs. The World. So, for everyone who has been anxiously awaiting the arrival of Eternal Take, it looks like maybe, possibly, there could be some sort of payoff coming soon for you down the road. Yes, I know plenty of people who I see almost every day who have been very, very, very anticipatory for this upcoming Eternal Take project here. So there is that to contend with. More crews possibly coming in 2020. A couple of years ago, when crews like Young Money and Good Music being less tight-knit than they had in the past, it seems like that we might end the decade with less of an emphasis on rap collectives as we once did. I mean, it started off very strong. Good Music, Young Money, huge major crews. Odd Future was a big crew as well. But things kind of cooled off later in the decade, the second half really. But we're entering 2020 with a firm bit of crew love, as some might say. We got Dreamville releasing a good collab album. Jack Boys, obviously fresh off the press. Griselda, interestingly, a new crew coming up on the rise. Good Music still. I mean, that's not going anywhere. When we really kind of love to see this interesting trend continue in 2020 and watch one of these rap groups compete with the Top Dog Entertainment and others for the distinction of rap's best crew. We're also expecting another great year for female rappers. It was a big year for female rappers in 2019. We saw really an array of diverse female artists, totally different talent areas, all the way from Megan Thee Stallion, Rhapsody, Rico Nasty, and Doja Cat, all dropping very well-acclaimed projects, while others like Tierra Whack earned attention and cosigns from peers for outstanding music videos and freestyles. And female rappers are really showing their versatility as the current pool of artists continues to rise to superstardom, and the hope is that more women will be inspired to strive and occupy more space in the game, as I think they have been a major part of hip-hop, not always in the best ways from the very, very beginning. I mean, there's been a lot of misogyny all throughout the history of hip-hop, and that's something I think it's about time that the culture, quote-unquote, starts paying its dues back to women, which have long played a massive role in really making hip-hop what it is. We're also looking at the next step of the Griselda wave. It's no secret that rap hasn't been drifting in an increasingly melodic direction for years, but of course, whenever a stylistic trend swings far one way, we can always expect a light tug in the opposite direction. For every sing-song rapper, there's another artist sitting somewhere plotting a way to bring back that hard-hitting lyrical rap we all know and love. This past year, Griselda crew out of Buffalo started to break through on a national level with gritty raps from Benny the Butcher, Conway the Machine, and Westside Gun, which sounds like really gang names. They caught Drake's attention, who ended 2019 by using a Benny the Butcher lyric on Instagram and took time to shout them out in the Rap Radar interview, saying, quote, "I think what they're doing is great. It reminds me of a different time. It's not easy to do, to make music and come off wavy and be interesting. Even the label name, the tag, it's ill. I'm happy for these guys. They deserve it." We'd love to see Griselda build on their momentum, and other for just generally the increase of lyricism, the trend of lyricism coming up in 2020 as well. Interestingly coming, a possible OVO XO project, with Drake made headlines for addressing his long-rumored beef with The Weeknd on his 2019 single War. On the track he said, that's been my bleep, meaning the N-word. Yeah, we just had to fix things, fix things, family six things. We can't split up, pretty much, kind of in a very Kanye West Jay-Z type. We're brothers, we have falling outs, but like we're from the same place. We're from Toronto. We're from the six. So we got to be friends in the end. Like we got to come together. In the end, we can't. Enough with all this fighting. So it looks like they have kind of gotten on a little bit of better track. But during a 2-hour interview with Rap Radar, he elaborated on this relationship a little bit more. Fans are now beginning to suspect the former collaborators began feuding around 2013 over creative differences. Drake said that he never had resentment towards, like, you didn't want to stay on OVO. I never expected Abel to stay on OVO. In the same interview, Drake says his biggest regret is not the Weeknd never signed to his label, but that we didn't give people the album, that tour. Although the rapper finished his thoughts on the subject, admitting they still have ways to go before everything is fixed. Hopefully the two can come together, but I don't know if it's going to be this year, but if they manage to get an OVO XL project around, I've seen many, many times that it does kind of take a bit for processes like these to kind of full out. So, yeah, and I think what we should see here is more credit and recognition, like the general more exposure, for producers here. I mean, they've often been overlooked over the years. Interestingly enough, as long as I've been doing it, people have been trying to take credit for what I've done, says M. Wonder to Complex in July 2018. The same sentiment has really been echoed by several other producers over the last couple of years. Hitmakers like London on the Track and Sunny Digital have been vocal about their lack of producer credit, telling Revolt that some producers get overlooked for their contributions and even miss out on properly getting paid for their work. On the bright side, the industry has been evolving in a better direction. Recently, producers like Mustard, Kenny Beats, and Metro Boomin have found success over the past couple years by branding themselves and really interestingly branding themselves in releasing solo projects. We saw Mustard very well critically acclaimed Perfect 10 album be released, so that's something that we like to see. But yeah, just in general, we love to see more producers release solo or joint albums in 2020, get more recognition when major artists release new music, and nabbing possibly any Grammy nominations just pretty much help the producers out. All right. Second to last but not least, we could see another Frank Ocean album. Some Frank Ocean fans were disappointed by his new songs DHL and In My Room. I consider myself a halfway there Frank Ocean. Like I'd say I'm pretty friendly toward Frank Ocean. I like a lot of some of the stuff I like. I can't even really bring myself to say that I like everything he does because it's just not true. I don't. Like there's some songs I don't like. DHL and In My Room, not my favorite. But many would prefer if he sticks to his roots and sings forever, but others are excited by the new direction. Would probably like to hear a full rap album from Frank Ocean. Anyone who can hear me talk about Frank Ocean knows that I'm, again, as I said before, I'm no expert on everything Frank. I think he was great. I think probably his best rapping moment was golden rubbers in these denim pockets. On my waist there's a black Glock. It's the She by Tyler, the Creator, obviously. That's what I'm trying to think of. But after hearing Frank flash his skills as a rapper on songs like Sunday, RAF, and Oldie for years, it finally feels right for him to release a full rap album. The first time I heard Frank's impressionistic flow on DHL, I could think was, he's been listening to Playboi Carti a little bit, but I think it works. I think he's kind of like the Donald Glover of music. Like he can really, really do anything. So, with that note, I'm looking forward to a real live Frank Ocean rap album. But I do think it's not outrageous to say that we get a Frank Ocean album coming pretty darn soon. Like I don't think that's completely crazy. I think it's going to be very, very exciting when it does.
Golden rubbers in these denim pockets.
You know what it is.
Waist, there's a black Glock.
We got our last preview point coming up next.
On the block. She been plotting on my brown cock. Last night I slept over hers. During sex I overheard. A sword sliced the air, I pulled out the nana, rolled off the bed, then shot back. Pow, blood on the sheets, probably spilling from my gash. Looked out the glass, seen him sprinting on the grass. A real ninja with the blade and the mask. Had them gold ninja stars and red Supreme nunchucks. Now she tryna patch me up, but girl, I was just tryna get a nut bust. If that's your ex, you should probably own a pistol. but I'm guessing it's wiser to exit with dude.
The blinds wide open so he can see you in the dark when you're sleeping. Naked body, fresh out the shower, and you touch yourself after hours. Ain't no man allowed in your bedroom. You're sleeping alone.